Okay, we're back. I think this is episode 9 now. I've been like cranking these out like crazy, so I think this is 9. But either way, today I'm joined by Mariam Sharobeem. All right.
Yeah.
And, she's a senior biology major who I've known for a while now. She's going to be a future doctor, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So what's going on, Mariam? How you doing?
I'm good, Aiden. How are you? Staying hydrated.
Yeah, that's staying hydrated. I just got a new hydro flask, so yeah.
Okay, flex.
I'm rich now. I'm like rich. So
yeah, super rich.
But you got AirPods in, so you know.
I do.
But
I guess we're both rich.
Yeah, we're flexing right now for everyone that's
hardcore.
listening right now. Alrighty, Mariam, let's hop right into this. So you're a biology major, right?
Mhm.
Where are you from? Aren't you Egyptian?
Okay, great observation. That's my heritage. My parents were both born in Egypt, but I was born here.
Can you dance like an Egyptian?
Do I what?
Can you dance like an Egyptian?
Aiden, I was really hoping you weren't gonna do that, and you did it, and you kind of disappointed me. I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
It's okay.
I had to do that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it was an opportunity. You had to jump for it.
I had to jump for it. All right, Mariam. So I know you a little bit. I don't know if you want to tell the audience a little bit what you're involved with around campus here.
Sure. So I'm a senior bio major, biochemistry minor. Things that I'm involved with is the biology club. I'm the president of the biology club. I tutor a bunch of classes, like bio classes, and I'm actually a PLA for a class that Aiden's taking for biochem, which is pretty fun. But like outside of classes, I'm what's it called? I'm a pharmacy technician. I forgot what my job title was for a second. And so I'm a supervisor. So it's pretty cool. But I'm pretty involved like in and outside.
Yeah. Where are you a pharmacy technician? Like where do you do that?
CVS.
Oh yeah. Do you want to do like do you want to do like pharmacy? Because I know we can go, let's jump right to it. Because I know you wanted to go to
go for it.
We'll hop right into it because I know you want to go to med school, correct? So
yes, or DO.
Or DO, okay. So hang on, can you expand on that a little bit? What's a DO? I don't know what that is.
Sure. So a DO and MD are two kind of trains of like thought, I guess you could say. Like there's two different paths that you can go down when you want to be a physician. So medical doctor and MD is like the more traditional path. DOs are considered less traditional, but both are pretty well-trained physicians. They do pretty much the same thing. Most people don't even know if they're doctors or a DO or an MD. The only difference is that DOs, like, I guess like one of the main differences is that they have this traditional like holistic approach, and they also have something called an OMT, which is osteopathic manipulative therapy. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. It's been a while since I've done my research, but they usually focus more on like the muscular system. So they can kind of incorporate that in their like field of medicine. When they practice medicine, they use your body more. I'm pretty sure one of the stats I read was like they have 500 more hours when it comes to like learning about the muscular system and the anatomy.
Oh wow.
So that like is just a pretty cool tool to have underneath my belt in addition to like my medical abilities. So that's like one of the things that like really interested me. So that's why I kind of want to go DO.
So I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed it. So is the schooling different? So like there's med school and then is there separate schooling for DO?
Yeah, so there's two separate two separate schools. So like PCOM is one DO school around here, Pennsylvania College of Osteopathic Medicine, but then Temple would be like a medical school. So you apply to like the two different like circuits, I guess you could.
And how did you like know like you were like, yeah, I want to go be a doctor? Was this something that you've always kind of been building, or like was this like a decision, or, like,
I guess it's like the cliche that I want to help people, but it's kind of like putting your finger on what exactly like how you want to help people. So like something that I kind of tell people like a little bit, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but like when I was younger,
feel free.
when I was younger, like the one thing that I think about, like when I think about like my earliest like thoughts of being a doctor is when I was younger, when my parents would go to Egypt or when I went to Egypt, we would pack our suitcases filled with like vitamins, like first aid kits, like band-aids. And at the time I didn't understand like why we would bring that and like not like things that you could get exclusively in America, because I just assumed that they had the same things that we did. And then when I got older, like, and I processed everything, I saw that there was like a difference in healthcare, and it just was like, okay, well, this is a problem. Like, people like shouldn't be dealing with this. This is an issue. So I always wanted to be like involved in medicine from then on. It's just kind of like where I fell in that like line.
No, that's incredible. Don't we get like a lot of our medicine from China? Like, is that true? Like, doesn't a lot of our medicine, there's not a lot of homegrown medicinal uses here in America, correct? Is that true? Or am I making that up?
I don't know the answer to that, and I don't want to like answer that.
That's
but,
fair enough.
Like, I think you are correct, but I could be wrong. Like, I know a lot of manufacturers that we receive are like not American manufacturers.
Well, that's really well. Good for you either way. So, what goes into like studying that? Do you have to study like pharmacology then? Would you have to study like that kind of stuff, or?
No. So I studied to take the MCAT, and the MCAT actually doesn't really have a lot of like, I guess it has the most basic concepts of pharmacology, but I have never like sat there and studied. I know things but just from working at CVS, but like the MCAT is just pretty much like testing you, kind of like the SAT would test you. It tests you more of like your thinking and your critical skills more than like concepts.
Yeah. I don't. Good thing I don't take the MCATs because I would fail. They actually just they waived. I don't know. I got like, listen, I'm not afraid to say this. I think I got like 1,100 on my SAT, maybe like 10, like 1,000.
Standardized tests are very difficult. They're not my strong suit.
Like, thank God.
And you're a really smart guy, so like
thank
that shouldn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I look back and I laugh at it now because it's like, because right now they're starting to waive like GREs and like MCATs and even SATs and ACTs. Like, I know like people that are applying to college, they're starting to waive it now, and thank God, because it's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like the purpose, like just to like standardize everything and make sure like if you have a 4.0 at like one college and say it's like a really easy college, but you have like a 3.2 at another college, but it was really difficult, like you need something to like balance that out. But I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I don't think that standardized testing is the way to go.
Yeah, neither. I mean, I'm not an expert either. I think if you have a lot of leadership positions, I think too, and honestly, letters of recommendation, I think, are like the way to go anyway.
The strongest, yeah, I think those for sure.
Strong suits, but yeah. Well, I hope you like do well at med school. I already know you will because you're really smart. So,
Thank you.
I keep trying to downplay it, but I know you're intelligent.
Thanks.
All right, so I want to hop into this a little bit. So
go for
research. Let's hop into a little bit of research. So I know last year you were doing something with biochem, I think. Was it Nagangas?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Were you doing research with Nagangas or mystery?
Dr. Nagangas, yeah. But fruit flies, so I guess you could say either or. I did go to mystery one time when I did have a mental breakdown over my gel not coming off my membrane correctly, but it's okay.
Wait, during research or during like lab?
During research.
Man.
I was doing Western blots, and with the transfer from the gel to the membrane, it just wasn't transferring, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having a mental breakdown. This is the end of research.
Well, good thing you stuck with it because it's not the end of the world. Looking back now.
No.
I wanna well, because I had Dr. Nagangas before, and so I'd actually like to hear from the student perspective about. I think you worked on the summer of 2019, so this is a year ago, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with like what exactly you did and then like why that research was like important?
Yeah. So can I back up just a little bit and say how I got involved in research?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
So diabetes is like a really big issue in America. Like, this is me being very broad. But it's also something that hits home for me. So something that was really interesting to me. And then one of my classes that I was taking at the time, we were talking about genetics and like the genetic like disposition of like you can inherit like certain traits. And one of the things that like we didn't really touch upon was like if you can like how you transmit like the genetic components for diabetes. So like that was just something that was in my head. And then I had to take research methods with Dr. Leung. And in that class, what we had to do was like do like a hypothetical like research and then make an experiment and then like explain how you would do it kind of thing. And then my question that I had was like, okay, well, can you do certain things to a fruit fly to mimic like type 1 diabetes so that you can study the genetic components of that and mimic it towards a human model? Because I'm sure you've heard like from other people like that line, like fruit flies and humans share so many genes. So when you do, they're really good genetic models for any diseases that are human related.
Yeah, I think it's like 86% of the genome is like pretty similar to humans, which is pretty remarkable. So while they're not perfect, they'll definitely give you a good like estimate of like what.
Yeah, and they're cheap. They're really good. Like they're really good models just to get some basic data and basic understanding. I definitely killed lots of flies.
Well, I don't think anyone's raising an eyebrow over flies. So if anyone here is a fly enthusiast, we're sorry, but we're killing a bunch of flies here. So
for real. It's in the name of science, so it's okay. So then I went to Dr. Nangas because I knew this.
Yeah. Okay. So you're studying you're looking at the genetics of the flies, and then Dr. Nangas comes along, correct?
Yeah. So I knew that she did research with fruit flies, and I was like, you know what, this is a question that I want to take beyond the classroom, beyond my basic like research. So I went to her and asked her for more articles, and she gave me articles to read and like research papers to annotate and kind of like. I met with her a few times and I was like, you know, like, I kind of want to do this. Like, I kind of want to do this in lab. So her and I what we ended up doing was a little bit of what I wanted to do. Like, we had like this what is the class? Dr. Mystery's class. They were like the kids that were in her class generated this mutation. And it's called Chico. So it was in this fruit fly line. And Chico means little boy in Spanish. And so that actually ended up coinciding with my research a little bit. So I kind of ended up taking that project over. I took their flies that they generated with this mutation and looked at their phenotypes, like what was different about them. So Chico was involved with like the insulin receptor. So it did have like a contribution to my research. So in the lab, like it was just me and Dr. Nangas for most of it. And we did I did a bunch of techniques that you actually ended up doing like in upper level biochem classes. And I've also done techniques that people haven't done before, like sonicating, which is like using sound waves to break up the fruit fly. So like I did a lot of cool things. Also dissected fat bodies off of fruit flies. That's hard.
Aren't they like the size of like my fingernail? So how did you dissect the fly?
Literally not even. We put it in PBS, and it kind of like what's
PBS?
Made it look like it was that it's like a solution. It kind of makes it look like it's in like a glycerol kind of thing, just to make it like it's held up. Really, really sharp and really tiny. And we use a special microscope. Dr. Nangas said that if I played video games, I'd be better at it, but I don't play video games. I wasn't really good at it. But it was really difficult. You basically just like rip off the fat part of the fruit fly.
Okay, so let me like try and break this down a little bit, just so I'm following along and other viewers are following along too. So you wanted to study the genetic makeup of the diabetes within fruit flies. That's like the original. That's what your original idea was, right? And was that like not feasible, like just a speck of like the timeline and like whatever, or like what was the issue with that?
I had such a broad question.
Oh, okay.
That we needed to center it down, and it just happened to be like a huge coincidence that this mutation was also in the same pathway that I was looking at. So we ended up just running with those flies because it's hard to generate mutations like that are targeted to certain like parts of the genome. So like they were able to target it was kind of like by accident, but it was really helpful for our research.
So in Dr. Mystery's lab group, you got a bunch of flies from them that had a mutation. What was that mutation? Like what was mutated about them?
They had a mutation in their Chico gene, which made them really small.
Oh,
And that's because they didn't have as much fat as the regular flies, because obesity is linked with diabetes. It's the same kind of pathway. It all contributes to what is
So was it
called
like
the TOR.
was it like the opposite then? So these mutated flies had the Chico gene, which made them smaller. Okay. Okay, so then you took that. So what did you study about that? Did you just take apart their genome, or like what?
So I dissected their fat bodies,
Okay.
and we used that to run Western blots to detect different proteins that were available. I don't remember the name of the proteins at this point,
That's
but
okay. I mean, it's okay.
yeah, so it was just like different proteins that were in the pathway, like the insulin pathway.
Okay. And so what did you find? Like, so you took these flies, you conducted some Western blots, or is it plots or blots? Is it with a B or a P?
Blots with a B.
Okay, so you did Western blots, which is a technique that biochemists use to basically figure out what proteins are there, right? Okay, so you did that. So what did you find? Like, you don't have to name the specific proteins if you don't remember, but like, what was the conclusion of this?
We found significant differences between the amount of fat that was on these Chico mutants and ones like wild type ones, like the regular common fly. So like future directions would be like to like look at different parts of to look at these proteins under like different views. And then we would have also like generated more flies to do more testing on this, because from what I remember, we had like a pretty high standard deviation, which suggests variation within the data. So we would have done more samples to see like how accurate our results were.
So your data wasn't as credible as it could be, right? If you did, so for those who like who aren't like kind of following, basically when you have more samples, this is actually an analytical technique from chemistry. The more samples that you have, the more credible your data, because you would alleviate the amount of randomness that could correspond, and so you don't have any doubt in your data. So okay, so so how many flies did you like dissect? Like, how many flies did you look at? You remember?
I want to say around 30, but also I have like really no idea.
So even on the high end, like 100.
It took a lot of time though.
Okay, let's even say on the high end, like 100. Like, I feel like 100 flies still isn't even enough. Like, you need to go like thousands of flies if you really want to look at like this kind of data. But that's interesting though.
It's also like the purification techniques that we use, because you do take these fat bodies and you're trying to detect the proteins on it. So like we tried different protocols to see which one was most effective, and it was like boiling and like heat denaturing these like samples, and it was just like a lot of like trial and error. But we did it over summer, so it wasn't like we had so much time to do different things.
Well, what I find most interesting about this whole thing is that you had a question from lecture, and then you said, I'm just going to bring it to the lab, and then you actually did something with it. So that's really cool.
Thanks.
Did you see like, how should I phrase this? Like, so what was like your favorite part about it? Like, what was your favorite part about the research, and like, what was like the most annoying part?
The annoying part would be the Western blots. You don't know this because you're not.
You had the breakdown?
Well, yeah, that was when I had the breakdown. But also, I probably did like 45 Western blots. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of Western blots. And if you know anything about Western blots, they take 7 years to run. Like, they take forever. It's horrendous, and they're so like error prone. There's so many things that could go wrong. Like if you get air bubbles in your like Western blot as it's running with the electrical current will run through the air bubbles and you mess up your whole thing. So it's just like, it's like set it up, say a prayer, and hope it works.
Say a prayer. Is that in your report? You just said a prayer? I think that was part of your report. Was that part of your report? Just say a prayer? Is that what you put in your report when you wrote it up?
That was my personal like routine. Like that's what I did.
That's in your procedure. That was in your written procedure to say a prayer.
Yeah, it's my protocol in my lab notebook.
What was your favorite part?
That was my least favorite. My favorite part was that like I was able to do it on my own. I could say I was doing the research. Like I'm always it's kind of like rare to be able to do something one-on-one with a professor,
Mhm.
especially doing research like that. So I thought that was like super cool. And it made me feel really proud of myself because I was able to manage it myself.
Yeah,
But that's like, thank God for Dr. Dangas. I'm pretty sure she blocked my number after that summer because it was a lot of like, how long do I have this gel run? Like, what do I do?
that's okay, honestly, because I remember like the first time I did research with Dr. Baston, and like I was like, oh God, like what am I doing? Like I was like, Dr. Baston, how do I do thin layer chromatography? I was like sweating, and I was
Yeah,
like, it's like
cold, lots of cold sweat.
like not a big deal at all. Like literally, like
No,
it's
because we're all students, we're all learning.
yeah, we're all learning. We all got to start somewhere, you know.
Hmm.
But good for you. So, I know you're currently not doing the research, but did anyone else like pick up your project afterwards, or they're still like, or is it on like the back burner right now?
I think it's on the back burner. Dr. Dangas went on sabbatical. I know she did research with, I think, Michaela. And then COVID hit, and I worked more at CVS than I had time to contribute to summer research, and I was also studying for the MCAT, so I just do some research again.
Yeah, I know COVID-19 like really screwed up a lot of things, but
it did. It knocked us off our game, but we're resilient people, so.
Hey man, either you can do nothing during COVID, or you can be resilient and be adaptable and figure it out. But it's your choice, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's your choice. Mm-hmm.
So looking back now, so we're both seniors, right? Is there anything you would have like done differently, like as you look back, is is there anything like you regret? Maybe something you wish you pursued?
I don't like to say I regret anything, but one thing I highly regret is not asking questions early enough. It was kind of like, specifically, I'm referring to Gen Chem. Chemistry is not my strong suit. I do like biochemistry, but yeah, this is like at you right now. And like, I just don't like chem. But I didn't ask questions soon enough in Gen Chem. I could have asked for help. I could have gotten tutoring, but I didn't utilize my resources until the very end. And then, I mean, I obviously, like, now I know what to do next time. Hopefully there's not going to be next time. Hopefully I never have to see chemistry again in my life. But yeah, that was probably my biggest regret.
Chemistry's really broad though. Everyone like craps on chemistry, but Gen Chem is one of the harder.
No, just Gen Chem. Like Orgo was fine. Orgo was fine.
But Gen Chem's like kind of hard. I mean, it weeds out. It weeds out weeds out the weak links though. I remember like my freshman year, we must have had like 40 students, and then it cut to like 20.
There was like no one left.
So either you can handle the math or you can't, I guess, in Gen Chem. But that's what it is. So what is it about like biology and like biochem that you enjoy the most? Like you just like see it, or like
it clicks. Like I guess it clicks more than chem. But also like I'm like a huge nerd, and I'm already expecting lots of backlash for this comment. But like I use bio and I think about bio all the time. Like when I'm washing my hands, I'm like, oh, this soap is disrupting the hydrophobic. Like I'm a nerd, and like it just all makes sense to me, and I can see biology in my everyday life more than I can see. I mean, I guess I can see physics, and I guess I can see science all the time, but like biology is like, for me, that's my core.
Yeah, I mean, I see that too, because like, first of all, there's nothing wrong being a nerd. Like, nerds literally run the world. Like,
for real, yeah.
I was never afraid.
I need that ego boost.
Yeah, I was literally never afraid to admit like I was big into science, like in high school, especially. Like I wasn't afraid.
I mean, look at you now. You got a podcast and a YouTube channel. Like this
I'll
is good.
try I mean, like I only put these out. I don't even put these out for like any monetary use. Like I'm literally just putting these out for anyone that's like curious about science and for my own interest. Honestly, like I bring people on here just to see what they're doing. Like I don't even like literally no other reason, and I just figure I'd share with everyone else. So.
This podcast is an excuse for you to talk to people. It's COVID's hitting you hard. Quarantine's just really difficult for you.
I would have done this. Listen, I would have done this if COVID weren't a thing. Like I probably would have done it. But I wasn't gonna let COVID stop me because it won't. It already tried, but I defeated it like 7 weeks ago. So.
Good.
Yeah. So this virus has got nothing on me. It really tried with me. But What's some of like your favorite moments here at Widener?
My favorite moments would definitely be doing research. I was part of the summer research like with Hannah. I was part of the summer research program with Hannah, and we actually lived together that summer. So that was pretty cool. I would have never had that opportunity if I didn't take advantage of that. And then another thing would just be presenting at the symposium. I got an award for my research to help pay for transportation to go to like Swae meetings. They call it Swae meetings. We're literally nerds. But like they're different conferences like around the country. But because of COVID, like a lot of them are virtual, so it's not like a big deal anymore. But that would have been really fun.
I mean, you're not traveling, but it's still a big deal to present, because I think presenting your research gives you an extra edge, and like it makes you a better like public speaker, and like honestly, like when you do presentations, it like reinforces what you already know. You know what I mean? It makes you think about like things in a different way, I guess. So,
you only understand something if you can explain it back like 3 times. So
for sure. And like what I've noticed is people aren't like asking about your research or like anyone's research to like harp on you. Like they're asking you questions just because they're genuinely curious. So anything that you like, what do you want? What mark do you want to leave here at Widener University? Like, what kind of like legacy like would you like to leave here?
I guess that's a hard question, Aiden.
I know.
I guess like character based. Like, yes, school's all about academics, but at the end of the day, I am not the same person that I walked in as. My character is completely changed. So I would hope that people would remember me as like a good person with a bubbly personality, pretty much pessimistic all the time, but I hope I made somebody laugh along the way. Yeah.
Listen, people were struggling Orgo 2. I'll never forget that semester. We were in the library for hours doing Orgo 2, like practice exams.
Yeah.
Everyone was having mental breakdowns, but I was like, y'all are gonna be fine. And look at you now. Like you were fine. So,
yeah.
If anything else, don't get fazed by testing exams. Everyone's gonna be fine. So, what's some advice that you give to like future students, like students coming behind you, or just like advice in general?
Ask questions. I wouldn't have done research if I didn't ask a question. I wouldn't have gotten this far in my programs if I didn't ask questions. A lot of people are afraid of judgment. This is college. We're all in the same boat. You asked the question. I guarantee you there's someone with the same exact question.
Someone's got more questions. Someone's always got more questions too.
Yeah.
No one ever like gets it right away, like for sure. Like
no.
You need to ask questions because, like you said, like no one in the room is understanding what's going on. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's learning. I mean, I guess like after your intro classes, everyone's learning things for the first time. Everyone's seeing it so go to office hours, go to your professors, like make friends with the TAs, like you're good, like ask questions.
No, for sure. Actually, sometimes I just go to office hours just to like hang out with the professor. I don't even have questions. I'll just go and just go chill.
I mean, they're humans too, right? They need interactions.
Yeah, no, like, and people think that they're like robots or something, and like they love like being on Zoom, and they love like doing all this stuff and giving us work. Like, no, they don't. Like, trust me, they don't.
Yeah.
Just as much as anyone else. So, be kind, be generous. That's my advice. Be grateful. I don't know. Well, Mariam, I want to say thank you for hopping on here. Like, it was really cool talking to you.
Of course. Thank you for the interrogation.
Interrogation?
I'm kidding.
There's Mariam's like.
That was pretty well done.
We're coming out. There it is right there. No, but seriously though, I know I appreciate it. I know the viewers out here, we appreciate it. We appreciate you. Keep working hard.
Thanks.
You're going to do great in med school, Mariam. Trust me.
Aw, thanks. And you will in grad school, right?
Yep. We're looking at grad school right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But alrighty, Mariam, I want to say thank you. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Unless I stuck by you, you're a sunflower. I think your love will be too much. Oh,
you'll be left in the dark.